Good morning.
Good morning.
How are we doing?
Yes, I'm fantastic.
Good. I'm fabulous.
I can feel how fantastic you are in your voice, Raymond.
Yes, God is good.
All the time.
Yeah.
Always.
Yes. And we want you to reflect the goodness of God listening to us by donating to the Easter Soup Kitchen so that we can help make someone smile on Easter Sunday. I encourage you, don't just donate. Come over. Come over to the F4 Sutherland Park at 10 a.m. on Sunday and watch the joy on the faces of everyone in Accra who benefits from this. You can call 0544 336 512 if you want to help us, and 0302 216 540 if you want to help us. Let's do the front pages, and we begin with Malik, who is holding
the Chronicle newspaper. Operation Vanguard has failed. That's a Dancy Kwabia chief claiming, but commander disagrees. Also on the front page of the Chronicle newspaper, Lithovate fertilizer was never tested in 2015. That's a witness saying. An advocate, UEW Council has unfairly treated me. Those are the stories here.
Now, the Daily Statesman has that Lithovate story, but it says in this case, no active ingredients in agriculture's fertilizer. And this according to a witness in the Opuni Agongo trial. And there's one about kill your greed and envy and not Ghana. This is the Presby moderator urging in the pre-Easter message the people of this republic, including its leadership.
The New Crusading Guide newspaper, MPP sets rules to elect regional executive. Opuni Agongo trial, agriculture Lithovate with the tension mounts at Adenta as Lakeside Estate gas attack Assemblies of God Church. Family of raped girl cries over delay, neglect of prosecution. Those are the stories here.
In the era of doom, so there's some semblance of good news on the front page of the Business Finder. It says oil and gas. Ghana is the best in sub-Saharan Africa in terms of governance. This according to the Resource Governance Index. That's on the front page of the Finder.
The Ghanaian Times newspaper, let's coexist, and that story about the clergy is here. The clergy Easter message to Ghanaians, let's coexist peacefully. That's on page 16 of the Ghanaian Times newspaper. Police impound 100 motorcycles for various offenses. Back page of the Ghanaian Times has aimed to break Wafa invincibility. A Morocco 2019, Ghana 2023 African Games teams to share ideas. Those are the stories on the back page of the Ghanaian Times newspaper.
Now, the front page of the Daily Graphic says that government gives 64 vehicles to police. Fishmonger banished. And I'll tell you the details of that later on. But use Easter to build the country is also what Christian leaders are urging the people of this republic. And there's a big insert on the Otumfo Osei Tutu II in commemoration of that 20th anniversary on the Golden Stool. I'll give you details later on.
My last paper is the Daily Guide newspaper, which has the Opuni fertilizer story here. The fertilizer had no expiry date. Court throws out ex-Senate boss. MPP regional elections, May 18. Yemeni defilement suspect on the run.
Now, the Daily Heritage is reporting this morning suspects for mental exam abandoned for 30 years at Accra Psychiatric Hospital, prosecuting. Officers also missing, and give us introductory letters. This is according to the Nurses and Midwives Union, which is appealing to the Health Ministry. Those are the stories on the front page of the paper.
So before we get into the details of the stories we have, Malik, what's
I
this?
thought Raymond still has one more paper. Which is this one?
Because
It's
you
okay.
abandoned the other one.
It's okay. Malik, let's look at this story on the front page of the Daily Guide.
Yes, there's this story on the front page of the Daily Guide, and the headline is Joy News regrets militia documentary. And then, as a matter of principle, I do not comment on the work of fellow journalists. I don't, particularly stories. I don't analyze or assess fellow journalists' stories because I do not think it is my place to do so. I'm only commenting on this story because this story quotes me and something I said on this show on Monday. Now, the headline, I don't know if my friend A.R. Gomda has seen this, but this headline is completely misleading. I never said anywhere, and the paper itself quotes extensively what I said. In fact, everything I said on this matter, the paper quoted. There is nowhere in this quote that this headline can be designed from, that Joy News regretted the militia documentary. That documentary was carefully done, and it was done to the standards that we have always done our documentaries. We never regretted anything in the documentary. In fact, we stand by the contents of the documentary. I never said anything on Monday that anyone can misconstrued to say that we regretted the documentary. We stand by the documentary, the contents in it, and everything in there we stand by. No part of that documentary is questioned. The authorities themselves did not dispute anything contained in the documentary, and I don't think there will be any basis at all for anyone to take the things that I said and then say that we regretted the documentary. We never said that. All I said
was
that there are people who misconstrued the documentary, and that misconstruction is regrettable. That has absolutely nothing to do with the documentary itself. I think I'll leave it here.
Thanks.
And Raymond, you were here.
Yes. And
did you get the sense that I was regretting anything?
I think that this is only a figment of the imagination of a person that wrote that particular story, because the connection, you have to struggle. You have to actually scrape the bottom of the barrel to be able to get to this connection in ways that doesn't make sense to me. But well,
you know what, guys? Let's leave the subject now. Malik, thanks for clearing the air.
Roman, you won't do your showbiz.
But we will not. We will not mention that this morning. Let's go ahead. We are going to the front page. Where Malik, there's a story where Ghana is losing 73.5 million.
Yes, so this is a story
annually.
in the Chronicle newspaper. The story essentially is saying that Ghana loses 73.5 million Ghana cedis annually due to violence against women. And this is contained in a report by the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research, that's ISE, which did this research and came out with this. And in fact, this research was done together with the National University of Ireland. They came together to do this, and it was funded by the UK. Now, the research says that this amount of money is lost through productivity time, that many victims of domestic violence tend to cocoon themselves in their rooms because of stigma. They don't want to come out, especially when they have marks and they have bruises after they have been abused. They cocoon themselves. And given that it is women who largely manage the informal sector of Ghana's economy, when these women don't go out and do not go and engage in any economic activity and trade, that amounts to huge loss to the public, to the state. Again, these are people who spend money sometimes to seek psychological counseling because they have psychological trauma as a result of the abuses that they suffer, and therefore they lose money. Some of them actually have to spend money on medical care. That too brings about loss to them. Injuries, ailments, all of the things that they suffer from abuses, they spend money on. That is how they calculated this 73.5 million Ghana cedis. And if you look at the figures, Daniel, according to the Ghana Family Life and Health Survey in 2015, 41% of women suffer social violence, 42.4% suffer physical violence, and 30% suffer sexual violence. This is the rate of violence in our society. And the paper itself, the research done by ISA itself, points out that 1 in 2 women will suffer violence in relationships. So it tells you the scale of the problem and the reason why we are losing such colossal amounts annually to violence against women.
And I love
girls.
how it's not just limited to violence in relationships, women, because there's a fishmonger, for instance, who has been banished.
Yes, and this happened in the very area of Almeida. In fact, in the Commander Edina Eguafo Abrim municipality, what happened pretty obvious was that there's a group of fishmongers. They agreed that they were going to sell fish to a certain area in Denu in the Volta region. And so the new plan was to do rotation. A first team goes to sell their fish, then a second team will follow up with the selling of the fish later on. Then she, in this case, Madam Akuvi Margaret Akoto, said she did not hear anything about that particular ban. So that arrangement, she violated it. She decided to go sell the fish. She was then banned by the group, the association itself, first, given a fine. The fine she didn't pay. Now, when she was dragged before the Oman of the traditional area there, she was also subsequently fined in connection with the earlier fine that she was supposed to be paying. Now, she refused to pay the second fine too. Then it became a problem for them. Then the Oman agreed that she should be banished from the area, so she cannot operate there. She cannot do business, cannot live there. The woman is worried about this banishment. She's gone to Sraj. She's petitioning Sraj. She's insisting that this is unfair to her and that they can't do that to her. I mean, it reminds me, I don't remember the last time I heard of anybody being banished in an area in this country. I agree that there is customary law and it is respected in this country. But of all the things under Article 24, which talks about the economic rights of people, especially when we also have people's fundamental human rights to move about, freedom of movement, it cannot happen that in the 21st century we are banning women for selling fish to a grouping in this country.
Well, so people are also being wrongfully accused of murder.
Yes. So last week I did this story about the arrest of Abdul Rashid Maizangu. This is a 29-year-old man who was arrested by the police at a mall in Accra, and the report at the time, the police had told journalists that this guy attempted to bribe the police officers who arrested him with 20,000 Ghana cedis, and that the money was rejected. And you remember you commented on this. And the money was rejected, and he was arrested and detained at the Nima police station. Yeah. Now, he subsequently was released because the police believed, or it's reported that the police were on a mistaken belief that this guy was a suspect in the murder of Ahmed Swali, who was with, what's the name, Tiger IPI, until his unfortunate murder. Now, following the police's belief that he was not really the suspect they were targeting, the guy was released. Now, the matter in issue is that the guy's family say the 20,000 that they took away from the guy has not been returned to him. In fact, they contend that the amount of money that they took was 25,000 Ghana cedis and not 20,000. And a brother of Abdul Rashid Maizangu himself, Abdul Nasser, told the Daily Guide newspaper that the family was told that the money is in the possession of the Director General of the Criminal Investigations Department herself, but who has traveled outside the country, that we have been told to wait until her return so that the money and the phone, which was also seized, would be returned. This is what Abdul Nasser told the Daily Guide newspaper, that if the money comes, they would then argue for the remaining 5,000 because they contend that the guy had 25,000 with him and not 20,000 as reported by the police.
Well, let's hope that they are not abandoned, Raymond, like these mental exam suspects who have been abandoned for 30 years.
So there are so many people who, when they go to court, charged with various offenses like murder. When they go to court, then the court will refer the person to the psychiatric hospital for what they call a psychiatric evaluation, so that it will be part of the case. Because as is established in law, you should be corpus mentis, right? Mm-hmm. The intent to which you do something is important in this case, and you establish that by having to know whether the person was in the right frame of mind and being able to do so. Now, what has been revealed by the Daily Heritage and then sources at the Accra Psychiatric Hospital is that now many prosecutors have gone there, left people there. There is even an individual who's been there for 30 good years, still waiting for evaluation before the person can be prosecuted. Now, the hospital authorities say they cannot find the people who are supposed to pick up this person and take her to court in this particular case. So, this is not only justice delayed. The woman is waiting to be taken to court. The people have done the evaluation and they are ready with their reports, but they can't find the case, the prosecutor, or which court to take the woman. So it's impossible to get a person to the court that should happen. And of course, there are several issues that have come up before this. You remember the fact that recently we could not trace the report of the semen and other things that were supposed to aid in the Temahabo case.
Yes.
Also, you do recall that on 4 different occasions, the judge had to threaten that Daniel Siedu's evidence ought to be presented before court.
In the JB Danko Edu case.
Yes, in the JB Danko Edu case. Or else the judge will have to deal with the people involved. Major Mohammed's case too, there was a similar incident where on 3 different occasions, the court was very angry that the autopsy report was not ready. An officer retired, one other took over, he was nowhere to be found. They had to subpoena the person on 2 different occasions before they presented the report. Apparently, this is just a few months ago. We have 30-year-old cases that are still waiting determination because the main suspect, who could be or could not be guilty of anything, is still going through psychiatric evaluation.
The wheels of justice, they say, grind slowly. Let's stay in court.
Yes. Completely.
Okay, so this one.
Well, let's go to a part of the court where the wheels are still grinding.
Okay.
It's not stopped. So this is a case involving former Kokobo Chief Executive Dr. Stephen Opuni and a businessman, Seidu Agongo. The two of them we know are being tried in the High Court. They are facing 27 charges of defrauding by false pretenses, causing financial loss to the state, among others. Now, the Daily Guide is reporting that yesterday when the case was called, it emerged that Agricole Fertilizer, which is the fertilizer in question, which is one of the bases upon which these guys are being put before court, that the fertilizer that the company supplied to Cocoa Board had no manufacturing date, had no date of expiry. And this is the head of Soil Science Division at the Cocoa Research Institute of Ghana, Dr. Alfred Arthur, who is a second prosecution witness. He's the one who was testifying in court and who made this information available, that the fertilizer simply had, quote, made in Germany for Agricole Ghana Limited on it, and that's it. There was no further information on it, and that on the basis of this, they could not accept this fertilizer. Nonetheless, under Dr. Opuni, the fertilizer was accepted, and we know that this is one of the reasons why the Attorney General's Department has brought this case against the two of them. So the case is still continuing in court. We will see in the
what
end
comes up out of that one.
Absolutely.
Raymond, a committee on housing.
Yes, the Ministry of Works and Housing is saying that perhaps to make sure that we know and understand the problem and can deal with it properly, we need a committee. And this committee is developing the guidelines for the implementation of the National Mortgage and Housing Finance Scheme. And the committee's guidelines are pretty clear. They have to outline what the main problems are, where the finance challenge is supposed to be, how we can get you and I getting mortgage. You do recall that during the 2018 budget reading, we're told that your pension money could be used to get you some mortgage so that you pay over the period, and when you retire, you can finally find a home. Now, that committee is supposed to fix all of these problems and in the nearest future get us houses to live in. Now, that brings to mind important points about why, when we check our budgets, the real estate sector has been experiencing overall growth. And yet, there's been many complaints about people not finding even affordable houses to live in. So who are the people getting the houses in the country in the first place?
Where is the growth coming from?
Where is the growth coming from? That's an important question. Over the period, we've realized that our housing deficit has been over 2 million. Even if we decide to build 100,000 houses every year, we will clear it in 20 years. We get the point. Moving forward, we would need that kind of housing, and we have Saglemi just 2 days ago reported that
you said we need 100,000 a year.
A year.
Saglemi is 5,000.
Just 5,000.
And so far, 664 have been built.
Our entire affordable housing project during Kufuor's time, which has been abandoned in and out. The last talk we heard was that Slate was going to improve it. It was also 5,000. So every single year, if we put it together, we are doing almost like 12,000, not up to the 100,000.
Okay, to be fair, it's not only governments that can
that's why I
bridge
put the
this
rest together, made
100,000.
it 12,000.
and you have to remember that you are talking from Kufuor. It's been how many years?
Yes.
So 8 years, 8 years.
Very good.
2
It's
more
compounding
years.
the deficit.
So you're supposed to do 100,000 a year. You're doing less than 10,000 in how many years?
And
in
see,
in almost
people don't
20
get
years.
it.
It's 11 years since
If
President
we have
Kufuor left.
cholera, and Professor Sebastian Kiavle and Co did a report on our housing structure in the country. We need to know that if you fix housing, you have fixed open defecation. Because if you fix housing, provide for housing, you provide for what they call it.
If you fix it well, you fix flooding as well.
That's true.
Because
if
you
fix
properly
that,
plan
you are
communities
more
and
likely
create
to
open
fix
spaces.
even sanitation too.
Yeah.
So we should not isolate the issue and deal with it in different forms and come back to the same problem in the nearest future.
Okay.
But this committee is a solution.
The
We'll
committee.
fix the problem.
We thank God.
Yeah, because the committees always fix our problems.
Oh,
How about the Committee on Illegal Mining?
Yeah, so the committee, the Operation Vanguard, which is the committee set up by the president to fight illegal mining, we are being told by Nana Kwabena Jamra Oyakwine. He is the Kwapia Hini of Adansi North District in the Ashanti region. He's saying that this committee has not done its work and that the illegal mining is rife in his area. He said he struggled to deal with about 3,000 illegal miners in his area. He's made reports to the district command, the police command there, and this is Fomena District Police Command, and they do absolutely nothing about this. He says anytime they raise an issue, what Operation Vanguard people would do is to come to the area, but they come there and take money from the illegal miners and then they disappear. They don't stop the guys from engaging engaging in illegal mining. Now, the head of Operation Vanguard himself, this is Colonel Konedu, says that yes, they know that illegal mining is rife in this area, but anytime they try to go and arrest the people, the indigents themselves alert the guys to abandon ship and to disappear. He disputed the claims that they take money from the people. He said the chief must provide evidence that they take money and allow illegal mining to be pervasive in this area. He says that all that they want to do is, if the local people allow them or do not alert these people to run, they will arrest all of them and bring them before
or maybe
court.
They can investigate beyond simply asking people to provide evidence. But let's go online now and take the online news reviews brought to you by Zenith Bank in your best interest and Goil Good Energy. Make your day productive by relying on quality fuel from Goil, your number one CIMG Petroleum Company of the Year for 3 years. Goil Super XP and Diesel XP are additivated to enhance strong engine performance and prolong the lifespan of your vehicle. Above all, you are guaranteed extra quality with our fuel analyzer from our mobile laboratory van. Get your money's worth every day by buying fuel and lubricants from any of Goil's over 360 service stations nationwide and experience good energy. Buy Goil, grow Ghana. Goil Good Energy, Goil Yenara Yedia. Now go light with Zenith Bank. Be that person who makes payments anytime and anywhere without the need to carry cash, or that person who lives light because you use the Zenith mobile app to pay bills, top up airtime, effect instant transfers, top up investments, and so much more. Avoid delays and keep afloat with the simple things in life. Simply sign up for the Zenith Bank's electronic banking solutions today and live light. Go light with Zenith Bank. It's faster and smarter. Zenith Bank, in your best interest. MyJoyOnline.com has one of the stories we'll be dealing with today. How I lost my wife and only child in a flood accident. A survivor's story. Today on the Super Morning Show, we'll meet Emmanuel Sarr, whose 11-year-old son has been missing since the unfortunate accident of Sunday evening. Because you see, we are heading towards another weekend. And for the past 2 Sundays, we've recorded heavy rains. So touch wood. If we should have another heavy downpour in any part of the country, today, tomorrow, or any other day, what do we expect? And what have we done to prepare? What have we done to even fix these areas where we recorded these unfortunate incidents? We'll be finding out today on the Super Morning Show. And the story is on myjoyonline.com. You can read that ahead of the discussion. There's a feature on football and spiritualism. Interesting one you want to look at. 1 dead, 10 arrested in failed takeover of Kintampo waterfalls. Interesting. Police in the Kintampo North Municipality of Bono East say they arrested 10 youths who took part in a violent attempt to take over the management of Kintampo waterfalls. Who are these young people? And how did they attempt to do this in the first place? You can read that on myjoyonline.com. Adum Online says Nanado reviews performance of ministers. Movenpick staff lay down tools over unfair treatment. And the BBC.com has Alan Garcia, Peru's former president, killing himself ahead of arrest. Beyonce is also dropping her live album with a Netflix film. You want to check that out on the BBC.com. You know, Omar al-Bashir is now a prisoner. The former president of Sudan. Who could have thought and imagined?
Former strongman.
Yeah, it seems like strongmen are becoming extinct. Peru, Abdul Rashid, Bouteflika.
But almost all the strongmen are gone.
Hey.
Mugabe is gone.
There's a certain by Kuruma. You go to Cameroon
It's
we are
just
still
a matter
strong.
of time.
Anyway,
Yoweri Museveni is still there.
Yoweri Museveni is also still there. There are strong men in the system, but they are becoming extinct as time goes on. Okay, we'll take these important messages. I'm sure the BBC News will have more on that. But before that, there's a special message I have for you. Stay with us.
This was Kwame's life before Interplast In Green Irrigation System.